Today, instead of bookshelf speakers, we are going to look at mainstream earbuds from Beats. Why, you may ask? Well, I needed a pair for my workouts, and perhaps you might be looking for some as well. But why Beats? I admit, even though I call myself an audiophile, I have a certain strong sentiment for this brand, which, don't worry, won't protect them from criticism. Starting with how they look, although I always preferred AirPods Pro-like shape, I think the design of Studio Buds is really on point. This is in large part due to the attention to detail characteristic of both companies, from the earbuds themselves through the case to the packaging. Speaking of packaging, it actually feels and looks a bit off. I don't know why, but this unusual format with a logo type reminds me of some old 2010 era fakes. Who knows, maybe all the graphic designers were on vacation and we are looking at the work of some AI freelancer. Anyway, as I already mentioned, the case is great, all the magnets work as intended, the battery life is fantastic, comfort is nothing to worry about, but unfortunately I've encountered one major issue. They do not fit my ear well enough. It is a bummer since I've picked them mainly for workouts like I've said, and I found myself constantly needing to adjust them. To be fair, it may play a role that my ear is relatively small, but nonetheless I think the tips may be a bit too shallow. Probably I will experiment with some third-party ones, but as for now I haven't found a solution. As for physical controls on each bud, it is a minor complaint, but again, each time you push the button it slightly irritates the ear canals, so it's definitely not an ideal situation. But finally, moving to the most important, sound quality. Let me tell you, if you like slight V-shaped sound characteristics, you will like them. In short, the mids are noticeably recessed, while the bass foundation is quite strong and the highs are clearly defined. More interestingly, I compared them with my old Tour 2s from era before Beats merged with Apple. As a result, the new Studio Buds come out much less muddy and more balanced, with mid-range that's a bit clearer and the bass that's lighter but more controlled, perhaps aspiring to hi-fi standards. On the flip side, the treble is not. It's much sharper, frankly a bit piercing when you crank up the volume. But unless you really listen to them loud, the highs are not overly harsh. All in all, while the sound may not be spectacular, it is overall quite pleasing. Keep in mind you can pick them up for about $100 right now, and for that price, it is a decent value for money in my opinion, especially when you also account the design, all the features, case, and let's be honest, branding. The biggest problem for me was the fit, but ultimately I haven't seen many complaints about that on the web, so I decided not to let it influence the final rating. In the end, Beats Studio Buds deserve 4 out of 5 stars. For $100 they pack decent sound, pleasing build quality and all the nice features like transparency mode and a good level of active noise cancelling. But enough of my take, share what you think about them in the comments. I'm especially curious if some of you had issues with fit like myself. Perhaps it is not that uncommon? If you enjoyed this review, be sure to check out my brand new website, MReviewer. There you will find exclusive written reviews with high resolution pictures you won't see anywhere else. Link is in the description. See you in the next one. Peace.